Hi Aries and Aries Rising, welcome to your April 2016 reading. It's great to see everybody again, and this month is one of my favorites. It signals a change in season. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this is a great time for renewal, growth, thinking of starting new again, basically, which is what I love. And that's part of the reason I wanted to get some really bright flowers in the background too. I feel like this month my focus for everybody is going to be on how you can bring about growth opportunities in your life. So the channeled information is going to be sort of more nature-based, but focusing again on growth, germination, being able to reach up and achieve goals, etc. So I brought that one thought to mind for every single sign, and then I'm getting unique information for each. Your goal this month from channeled information is basically, just like I was mentioning, to stretch. So thinking of a new seed that you might have planted maybe in the past couple months, and I'm not talking about a literal seed, I'm talking about a hope, a dream, or an aspiration. This is the time to start to put your roots in and stretch up. And even if you haven't started to think about what you want, there's no such thing as a right time for like a resolution. It doesn't have to happen in January. Anytime during the year or during your life, you can make a goal and aspiration to sort of reach beyond where you're at. So I was talking with a friend the other day, and that was one of the things. I said, what do you want to really be doing? And they didn't know. And so I said, well, think about it. This is a cool thing. Like you don't have a lot of chances in your life to sort of achieve what you want. So make every day count. So for you guys, don't just put up with the same old, same old. That's what this card is saying. If you are challenged at work with a new opportunity, stretch and try and see if you can do it. If you're sort of bored with a relationship or bored with a certain part of your life, it's up to you to take the step to make it better. And it's going to involve getting outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to probably do more work than others, but nothing that is worthwhile comes without a little bit of struggle, a little bit of waiting, a little bit of anticipation. So stretch, push through. Think of that seed or sapling, that's what I see, pushing through the seed case and actually getting out of the ground. That's the hard part. Then you're going to get nourished by the path that you're on. Okay? Now let's take a look at the cards, and I'll pull your Catalyst card in a moment. Just a reminder, I do post links to the cards that I'm using and the decks that I'm using, so you will see that in the description under the video. There's also a page on my website, nicholastarot.com. So instead of asking in the comments, just take a look at the description and all of that information will be there. All right, so let's take a look and see what sort of information is coming through for you for the month of April. A lot of change already, I can see. Okay, and before I go into this, let's go ahead and take a look at your Catalyst card. And again, just a reminder for those of you that might be tuning in for the first time, this is an extended forecast. I pull in cards of health, wealth, love, and destiny. You saw that I channel some information through automatic writing. I tie all of this together with this Catalyst card. And for you this month, it's the theme of acceptance. So in regards to this, it's moving past what other people have sort of made you accept about yourself. Maybe accepting the unusual fact that you might be capable of much more than you ever thought. So the other thing that I was just reading the sort of subtitle here, which is understanding aspects of your life that aren't worth the effort. So I just told you there are some things that you might identify as opportunities to do better than you're doing right now. There are other areas. Maybe it's a restrictive friendship or a cycle in your life, maybe a behavior that you've been doing. It could be an addiction, it could be a thought pattern that sort of repeats. Whatever that is, if it's actually not bringing you any sort of benefit, this is the time to release it and move to something else. So accepting what can't be changed, challenging and moving through other things that you've let sort of sit stagnant. And we see a couple of cards that tie into that thought that the Catalyst card brought in. The first one here is the Hanged Man. I'm going to jump straight to sort of what's on many of your minds at this point. With the Hanged Man, this often comes up when you're feeling impatient, feeling stuck, and I feel like a lot of you right now are a little bit afraid to come out of your shell. You'll notice that with this particular Hanged Man, sometimes there's there's another deck that I use that has like a turtle, I think. But what I like about this particular Hanged Man, actually the Hermit's the turtle in this one, but there is still a sense of a little bit of a hermit in this particular illustration. So what you need to do is to find a way to get past whatever it is that's keeping you stuck in your sort of present mindset. I really get that it's not a situation, but it's more sort of a way of thinking. And so I want to challenge some of you to get out of that way of thinking. When I'm looking at the central card, it could be a very difficult time for some of you with relationships. The reason I mention that is we do cross this one with the Fool. So this tells me new beginnings, and for some of you, possibly acting without thinking. So for those of you that haven't had love in your life, the good news is it looks like this is a time to seek it out or to welcome it in. For those of you that have been in a long-term relationship or have started seeing someone, the challenge for you is, when is it going to be something more than just a fleeting sort of thing? You're going to have a moment this month where you're going to be challenged. You might have a conversation with them. They may have a conversation with you, asking, do we want more than just a sort of ephemeral or a sort of like fleeting connection? The reason I'm mentioning that is we have the Two of Swords, and it's pointing reverse towards this card. So a lot of times this is about being unable, unwilling, unready to sort of face a big question, a big decision in your life. Because you think of the Rider-Waite version, it's blindfolded and there's two swords, and it's really just a decision that needs to be made but that isn't being made. That's where the Hanged Man comes in. So think about what it is that's sort of scaring you from this, because when I look at the near future, it's a beautifully illustrated Sun card, and the Sun card is about good opportunities. So don't let your past situations hold you back. We look at the recent history for many of you, and there's stagnation happening. So that's sort of getting stuck in old ways. Some of you may have lost someone or something in your life, and what it's doing is clouding your judgment and also making you, I'll just pull the camera down, it's making you wonder, can I make this decision? I just experienced something really scary. Some of you are very used to having things be more secure. That's what the Hierophant's about here. And what this card is telling me here, the Sun, is that it will be okay, but it requires action. So in the areas of love, an area that's coming through bright and clear for you this month, don't be afraid to spread your wings and either allow for a new relationship to kind of come forth, or if you're in an existing one and your heart tells you it's time to separate, I see that element coming through for many of you. Because if you felt like nothing's been happening, this is the time to have a very difficult conversation with somebody and think if it's worth it. Now what I see here with the Daughter of Swords reversed is a cautionary note to basically say, guard your words a little bit this month and make sure that how you speak is not interpreted as overtly aggressive or negative. You want to really sort of empathize with other people. I know many of you are already good at that, but you need to really work hard this month. And sometimes Aries, you act before thinking. You've got to try to temper it a little bit this month. We see that if you do that, you can actually turn this card upright and have a sort of elevated version of it. We have the Queen of Swords here, and it is upright, and it is a very powerful card. That's why the snakes are actually on this particular suit. So it is a great month for new business opportunities. Many of you may be put in a position where you could get a new job option, a raise, a transfer, and others of you are going to just be feeling more confident for the first time in your life to sort of speak out and do what you want to do. Now, all of this is predominantly it's good. I see fear in half of the cards, but I see opportunity in the other half. Your final card is the Nine of Swords, and with this card, you can see it's sort of frightening. Frightening because what is that card about? It's all about the fear, the shadow side. So what you need to do, I had great advice from a Reiki teacher once saying that, you know, if you're confronted with a fear, with a shadow, with a negative personality, for some of you it may be sort of a younger air sign or someone who speaks and acts a little bit immature. And if they do, again, usually darker hair, darker eye. If that happens, what you need to do is sort of invoke your best version of Gandhi came to mind. This is someone who's nonviolent, who's for the most for most of his life, a very kind person, and modeled the behavior that he was hoping other people would sort of embody themselves. So if you're around a very negative person that either speaks critically against you, acts in a way that makes you uncomfortable, or you feel like they're sort of pushing their own superiority or title or rank on you, the best thing you can do is be supportive, be kind, and if you can't exist in that environment, find somewhere that you can. This is a month where I wouldn't really fight either the Daughter of Wands reversed or the Mother of Wands upright, because these are difficult people and you've got so many opportunities. For some of you, it's time to move on. So if we were to sort of take this, again, I'm going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny in a minute, and wealth includes career, but I do get a little bit of a note for some of you on the career path that you are very, very well liked by many of the people in your office, but due to some of this sort of politics here, it's time to move on. And I do see that for those of you that are following in this situation, there's a better opportunity on the horizon. You got to let go of that fear card that I looked at the end. Because what is causing the stagnation for many of you is accepting, like I said, other people's sort of limits that they put upon you, but not your own. So challenge others' limits, accept what you can't change, and when necessary, take flight, take move, and go into a new direction that might better suit your skills, your life, your soul purpose. Let's expand this monthly reading and look at your health situation first, and then I'll again sort of look at these cards as needed. Let me just shuffle it one more time here. Okay, so for health this month, it's really interesting. It's an extension of the Fool card here. We have taking flight, flying. For many of you, a pivotal moment could happen towards the latter portion of the month. For this particular deck, I do pay attention to the numbers. And so I will say it's around the end of the month here. There's going to be an opportunity to step free, to make a change, to let go of something that's been constant in your life. And the scariest thing for those of you that are ready for that sort of a big paradigm shift, a big life-changing moment, it's that the safe aspects, the safety, the grounding that you might actually already have in your life, you're going to have to let go of that and embrace what opportunities await you. But I feel like many of you have been sort of procrastinating on that, and I like this because it's an eclipse here. There's only a moment sometimes of opportunity, and think of it as an eclipse. You get to see the situation, that corona. You see a different part of the sun that you wouldn't normally see. So for those of you that are trying to make a decision, wait the first couple of weeks, around the week that has the 20th in it. That's when I think you're going to have your eclipse moment, where all of that sort of noise, its brightness that you would normally see in the sun, but the overwhelming sort of facade that's pushed out there will disappear around the 20th, and you're going to see everything around it. And this could be a person's true colors, a relationship's true colors, or something in your life that you've held as constant will suddenly shift. And in that moment of eclipse, rather than seeing the illusion, you'll see the truth. And so I actually get chills when I think about that, but I think the most important thing for your health this month is to look at that moment of truth and then act on it, make a decision. So you probably have to stay still for a little bit, but then I see this moment of clarity around the 20th where you're going to break free, and it should be liberating. And this is going to help your overall mental and physical health. And I'd love to see a lot of you active this month, because this is supposed to be focused on health. So flight involves like running. I want you to do very active sort of like sport activities, and not just sit around your apartment or house. So maybe it's running, maybe it's travel of some sort, whether you're going to a new location and then doing things there. But get outside of your house, get outside of your city, explore new parts of your city, state, province, country, etc., and enjoy whatever the spring or fall is going to bring for you, depending on which hemisphere you're in. Okay, now let's take a look at wealth opportunities. Remembering that, of course, wealth is not just money, but it's also resources, time, for instance, and then also it can be long-term sort of growth potential. So let's just see what is coming through for money, for material gain, but also for these sort of intangible things like time, resources, and growth opportunities. So, giving and receiving. Although a lot of us focus on our own ability to get ahead, what I see with this card, it's a service card. So for those of you that feel like volunteering, doing some sort of a seva, doing some sort of a giving back to the community, you're going to make key contacts, not because you're trying to, but because it's just part of the, I guess, the attractive energy and flow that happens when you're volunteering. So doing any sort of service this month will actually bring money back to you. It's also a very, very good month to engage with partnerships. So if you are a sole proprietor in a business and you're feeling overwhelmed, great time to get short-term help to sort of give you a hand with maybe your bookkeeping, maybe some of your marketing. And also for some of you that have been keeping a project to yourself, and maybe it's a big creative project or a really important business project, with the giving and receiving card, what I'm seeing for you is it's time to socialize and talk about that, because sometimes when we keep something to ourselves for way too long, we lose perspective on it. But you can get a lot of positive and helpful feedback when you feel like it's ready, when you're excited to share it. But I feel like many of you should do this around the first week of the month. We have the number 6 on that card. So really around the 6th, 7th, 8th, this is your time to start to share, start to socialize, and talk about these things. Okay? And again, remember that do it with trusted friends and colleagues, of course, but I feel like it's going to benefit you and you'll be happy that you did that. And you may end up having a business deal, a contract, or perhaps someone interested in again, if you're trying to get hired, you could be hired around that time, or if you're trying to sell an idea, you could actually walk away with an opportunity from that. Okay, so now when we look at health, wealth, and love. Love, just to remind you with this card, it's about both romantic relationships and also interpersonal relationships. So let's see what love is bringing to you this month. Okay, so we got transformation. And transformation fits really nicely with death. What this is telling me, as I saw at the beginning, this is a month when some of you are going to want to move on from a relationship. It also, for many of you, will open up the door for new relationships. If you're not in it, if you're not in one or you haven't been in one in a while, this is a really good time to start. And looking again around the 6th, because we see the 6th associated with the Lover's card here. Okay, so rather than, I want to say this too, because a lot of times when I do either a tarot reading or a life coaching session with a client, they'll say something self-defeatist like, I have no luck in love, or I've been single forever and I probably always will be. That card is saying, no, you won't. This is a time for change, but you have to let go of that thought in your head. And I mentioned earlier, sort of to stretch beyond what you've been used to. I want you to stretch beyond these limiting thoughts and think, it could happen. Things could change. Just start with the possibility and then think, I'm ready for it to happen. And you can become more affirmative. And then it's going to happen. You can sort of step your way into positivity. But that's what I'd like for you to do in the areas of love. And again, for many of you, I see it getting better, particularly with the sun here. Now let's take a look at your destiny card. And that's going to tie up to that fear card that we saw at the end, the 9 of Swords. So what I want to help you do is avoid the sort of scary 9 of Swords card and see what can come through that. So beautiful message here about blessings. Blessings as in mixed blessings or a blessing in disguise. Note that there's a rainbow, which for me, I'm going to infer that there was a sort of a stormy month that may come through. Changes. Storms bring about a change in temperature and climate, but also when they clear, they've moved things. They've moved water. They've helped things grow. They've cleaned the air. They've cleaned the streets. And what's left after this is something beautiful, something clear, something more pristine than what you had. So the destiny this month is not that fearful 9 of Swords card. It's a much more beautiful blessings card, and that's what I see you headed towards, this beautiful rainbow. So part of this card is also balance, because in our body, we have all these colors that you see here in the chakras, and also in nature you see it. I want you to work on clarifying your aura this month. And you don't have to really understand how to do it other than meditating and trying to think about the different parts of your body associated with your chakras, all 7 points, and just intend for them to be clear. It helps if you work with the colors of the rainbow, working from red, orange, yellow, blue, violet, indigo, etc. And moving up, if you want to go all the way to sort of like white or silver above you, you can do that. But look at the colors in the rainbow. Look at there's a lot of great chakra color charts on the internet, and focus on that color and just put it in a spinning wheel around each of those centers of your body. If you work on every week, maybe working on 2 of those, you're going to be in a really good place towards the end of the month. You're going to be a lot better able and ready to embrace. And I'm getting a little bit of a download. For a lot of you, I want you to focus on the crown chakra, which is the very top here, because this is going to be your sort of area where you're going to be able to channel information and intuition in. You don't even need to know how it works, but I do feel a lot of you can benefit from chakra meditations this month. Unlike other months where I'm telling you to work on like physical activity, it's actually about mental activity this month. And changing the mantra in your head to affirmatives. Working from a state of it could be to I want it to be to it will be. So possibility, wish, affirmative. And that's going to shift the energy and make you more of a magnet for positivity. And that's going to make it easier for you to get a job, find a date, and also find work opportunities. All of these things are important, I know. Let's summarize, and that sums up everything for this month. So again, your central energy this month is relationship-based. Lovers doesn't always mean finding love. It can also mean a great time for you to partner up in business, partner up in other opportunities, ask for help. It's here if you need it. The Fool card is about motion. I'm showing that the movement is good with the Sun card here, and also it's going to get you out of this sense of stagnation. A lot of you have been part of a corporate environment or a very hierarchical family or sort of traditional structure, and this is about breaking free. This almost looks like a supernova to me, so or a birth of a new star. So this is about a brand new opportunity coming through. And you look at this eclipse moment up here, reminding you again that around the 20th, I think that you're going to have that moment where you see beyond the information in front of you. You're going to open up intuitively and understand whatever you've been fearing. It will go away. You'll have an opportunity to make the decision and then move into a lighter, brighter future. Although you're in a sort of hermit phase now, many of you in this hanged man, I'm getting again a combination of hermit and hanged man. This is okay. I see it breaking towards the 20th. Caution, as usual, when you see a reverse sword card, to watch the way you're speaking. This is in the environment. Also be careful about who you talk to. Know that there is a lot of latent power, which I feel is going to come up around the 3rd week of the month. That's the best time to execute on business, contracts, or ideas. And the last week of the month, when we have the Ten of Swords card, I want you to sort of walk away from negative situations if you can. Let go of negative situations, diffuse arguments if you can, and really just accept that there are a few people in your life who you can't really change. But challenge your misperceptions, misconceptions about other areas and stretch beyond them. So part of that too means it will help you if you get out and move. That's why the whole idea of when I was looking at the Fool card here is showing that it's a good month for walking. If you do want to pick a physical activity, walking's fantastic. It can change your point of view. I think of the Jane Austen novel Pride and Prejudice, where it's like, let's take a turn about the room. Of course, that's more ironic, but there is something to walking around and just getting up, because if you are stuck, if you can just see a new environment, it helps quite a bit. So there is something to that scene in Pride and Prejudice, but not so ironically. I'm actually saying if you could get outside and go to a new place. If you're stuck, if you work at home and you need to work in a new environment, a new cafe or something like that, try that. If you're in an office, try to just take a walk for lunch. Things like this are really going to improve your overall ability to just be healthier and happier. Okay? Last, I just want to end on these 2 cards because they're beautiful. This was for health, wealth, love. So this is love and this is destiny. Things will move in and out with love this month. Some of you are going to leave it, some of you are going to enter it. None of you should be stuck in it though. So shift and talk about whatever it is that you're afraid to talk about. This month, the energy wants to help you. And what you'll be left with is something brighter, clearer, and more refined than what you had at the beginning of the month. I hope this was helpful for you. It's, as always, a pleasure to read for you. If you'd ever like to have a personal reading, I book about a month in advance. I do have some rush options open on the website. I meet via Skype, telephone, and what am I leaving out? FaceTime. I don't do in-persons, but all three of those work. I also have some email options. Otherwise, I'll see you again in a month, and it's a great way to sort of keep in touch with me is to sign up for my newsletter or join me on the social networks. I'll have a list to all of them. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm sure I left one out, but I'll put all of those on the link here, and you can join in there. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful April, and for those of you where it's springtime, enjoy the change in weather, and I'll see you again next month. Sat Nam, and thank you so much.